he's trying to numb people so that if he does these strange pardons, then if he goes on to Cohen and Manafort and people who can actually do real harm to him, unless they are pardoned, perhaps people will be a little bit more tolerant, he thinks.
So, Senator, Michael's saying, you know, in a sense, president's sending out a whistle to Michael Cohen, like, I love you, man, I got your back.
Yeah, I don't think Donald Trump cares about Blagojevich or Martha Stewart or any of these people or their cases or justice or fairness. This is all a telegraph. My guess is that Trump meets every afternoon with Rudy or his team of lawyers to talk about the state of the case. If I were Rudy Giuliani this afternoon, I would have Article 1, Paragraph 9 of the Articles of Impeachment of Richard Nixon in my pocket, and I'd hand it to him. Because in Paragraph 9, it is using the powers to convince people, to persuade people, influence people not to cooperate, not to be truthful, and to evade justice. He is setting up a case against himself. Rudy needs to restrain him from further self-destruction in this case. Okay, this is not helping.
Brendan, James Comey is the one who went after Martha Stewart. Blago, the former Illinois governor, he was also taken down by Comey and Mueller. And his wife was asked whether she thought the president's consideration had anything to do with that. And I want to share what she said.
I see that these same people that did this to my family, these same people that, you know, secretly taped us and twisted the facts and perverted the law that ended up my husband in jail, you know, these same people are trying to do the same thing that they did to my husband, just on a much larger scale. You know, they were emboldened. They took down a governor, and now they've got their sights much higher. All
right, and it's not just Comey and Mueller. Preet Bharara was the prosecutor who was behind D'Souza's conviction. So what do you make of this pattern?
I think there's something, I'm fascinated by the word pattern, because it's like we're all in a basement. We've got yarn going from face to face, and we're trying to make the connections, and we're putting together this spider work of connections. All these connections are valid. I think that Midwin has a point. I think the senator has a point. I think there's something else in addition to this, which is that...
You all just called us crazy right there.
I'm crazy. I'm trying to dig into this, but there's one other layer of crazy that I'd like to put on top of this, which is that there's an arbitrariness to some of this, which feels like an exercise of power. One of the ways in which you exercise power is that you say, I have the power to do it no matter what. I don't need reasons. You don't have to find patterns. I am the state. I make these decisions.
I don't know. It's not coincidence that these are Comey cases and Fitzpatrick cases. I don't think it's very subtle, and it doesn't seem arbitrary to me.
It's not like Martha Stewart needs to get pardoned.
Right, and also if you look at the underlying crimes for which these people were convicted, lying to the FBI, Martha Stewart, Blagojevich, pay for play. You know, if you look at all of those underlying crimes, those are exactly the same crimes that Manafort is looking at, Michael Cohen is looking at. So not only is this a message to them to say, hey, listen, I have your back, but it also lessens the sting so that you know, if these men are convicted of these crimes or whatever, you know, it's not that big a deal.
I don't know if it lessens the sting or if it prepares all of us. So we're saying, Mr. President, we see you, and we're watching you do it now, and we'll watch when you want to do it down the line.
And part of the discrediting of Comey and Fitzpatrick and the rest of DOJ.
Yeah, does it really discredit him? Does the average person on the street say, well, who was it who went after Martha Stewart? Like, is Louise Rule thinking about that? I don't think so.
But it's building blocks. It's more of what has been a sustained campaign of undermining the credibility, part of which these people undermine their own credibility. Comey is his own worst enemy. I think when the history of this is written, Comey will be if Donald Trump survives this,